Please be seated. Anticipation, wonder, preparation. These are all feelings that came to me as I reflected on the gospel reading this past week. You see, Matthew reminds us to be watchful for Christ, to pay attention and get prepared, since we don't know when he will arrive again. While Matthew is referencing the second coming of Jesus, I think it fits perfectly in the context of Jesus' birth and this season before Christmas. Here we are, entering the season of Advent. 4 weeks of anticipation, culminating in the coming of the Christ child. Perfect timing to be asked to stay awake and pay attention. In these 4 Sundays, we will add to our everyday worship traditions by lighting candles in the Advent wreath, one for each Sunday. We have shifted our liturgical colors from green and white to now blue. Our amazing altar guild and volunteers have decorated our space with greenery to be festive. We do all of this liturgical pomp to refocus our attention on the coming of baby Jesus and to prepare for what this means. Jesus is sent to us in this world as a baby to experience our hurts and pains, to understand the divisions of the world, and then teach us a new way to live, one where divisions are taken down and love is king. Jesus comes to live among us so that we can learn to embody this message of God, a message of love, that we are loved and valued, just as we are, that we are created in the image of God. You are so loved that God sent his only Son to learn about you and your experiences. Each one of you, just as you are in this moment, is important to this world. You are loved, not when you're smarter, not when you're thinner, and not once you have everything figured out. Now, right now, you are enough, and you are loved unconditionally. Jesus comes into this world to understand our experiences as humans and to let us know that no matter what that experience is, there is a place for us, that we matter. You are important to this community of St. Mark's, to the neighborhood you live in. God loves you so much that God is constantly inviting you to show up in this world in love, to receive it, to share it. So during this Advent season, we get to prepare for the excitement and joy this baby brings us. Love of God in human form. We get to anticipate meeting Christ. We get to prepare for that invitation of how to show up in this world in love. We get to be awake to love, feeling it and being it. Now, it can be really hard to see Christ in the world today and the hopes that God has for us and this world. To feel love and give love is a tough task in a broken world. This past week alone, we have experienced more gun violence, continued wars, and constant struggle in our own lives. Daily life seems just a little harder these days. It's certainly more expensive, and there seems to be less time to do all the things that we need to do. The pain, trauma, and hurt of this world seems immeasurable, and it can certainly be overwhelming. To not focus on the darkness of the world is what God calls us to do. The hope of God's love is about focusing on the dawn that is coming. This first Advent candle symbolizes this hope, the hope the Christ child brings to the world, hope that we can use to arm ourselves as we go out into the world. Now, St. Mark's is preparing to embark on a new mission and engagement project. We are grounding ourselves in this hope of a brighter future. For the past 8 years, St. Mark's has hosted a Lionheart Scholarship Program to support students at Minneapolis College. We want to expand this support and deepen our relationship with the school and others around Loring Park. We are calling this project Mission for Student Success. While we are starting with the Minneapolis College, this will include Emerson School and potentially other academic institutions in the neighborhood. To start the why of this partnership, I need to explain a little bit about the mission work of St. Mark's as I understand it. Now, I am sure there are people that know much more about this than I, but here we go. In the 1980s, St. Mark's was a prophetic voice within our community. We saw what was happening with drugs, crime, and poverty in Loring Park. We helped seed the Groveland Food Shelf, a clinic called the Neighborhood Involvement Program, and we hosted our own homeless young adult Monday night supper program. These programs were supported by St. Mark's before food and healthcare were things to be supported by churches. We saw community challenges, discerned ways we could show up, and we acted. We didn't try to do everything. We took what we had and utilized these assets to support our neighbors. The program I know the most about is Monday Night Supper. It happens to be the first program I volunteered for as a new member. That was several years ago. As it was explained to me, Monday Night Supper was born out of a growing knowledge of homeless young adults within Loring Park, many who identified as LGBTQ. At the time of its inception, crime, prostitution, and drugs were common within Loring Park. St. Mark's created a meal program for homeless young adults before supporting young adults was understood as a concern. This was about seeing young people who need a healthy meal and creating a safe space for them to access that. We used our skilled members to purchase and make food. We used our kitchen. We got the word out in the community and welcomed young people. By the time I volunteered for this program in about 2004, this program wasn't just St. Markins showing up. I remember healthcare for the homeless nurses, YouthLink caseworkers, and people from in and outside St. Mark's community chatting with these young adults over a meal. This program was about connection, connecting young people to what can help them get on their feet and provide a safe meal and space for that. Well, the world has changed a lot since the 1980s, and so we are embarking on something new. There are dozens of meal programs now available, and all partner with city and county services. However, we still have neighbors like Minneapolis College who are struggling, and we still have gifts that we can use to support them. So here starts the discovery stage of Mission for Student Success, where we will deepen our relationship with Minneapolis College. We will build on our passion for showing up to our community and young people. We will use our gifts and prayerfully discern how God is calling us to show up. So here are a few facts about Minneapolis College to deepen our relationship. 27% are first-generation college students. 56% identify as Black, Indigenous, and people of color. 33% are Pell Grant recipients, which means they are students living in poverty. And 51% receive financial aid. They have a student services department which coordinates a food shelf, a meal program, an emergency assistance fund, and supports students who have aged out of foster care and want to go to college. This department doesn't have enough staff for the demand. They need volunteers for their food shelf and their meal program. And they are always looking for new ways to support students so they can achieve their academic success. It is time St. Mark's reignite our prophetic voice in this neighborhood. It is time to show up using our gifts in the community. Let's focus on the hope of the season and the love we have to share. Let us show up as God calls us, at work, in our neighborhood, and with our friends. I think St. Mark's can be a beacon, a place where we are known in the neighborhood for our love, our commitment, and our action. As we move into the new year, we will have more ways for you all to join this partnership. So let us take this Advent season to prepare ourselves to embody God's love in this world. Let's show up to this world feeling that love, sharing that love, and being that love this world needs. Let us create spaces where there is a place for everyone. Let us use our gifts and accept the offering by God to join in creating a world of love. Jesus is coming. Let's all awaken to the hope that this baby represents. Let's get prepared. There is a new way to live, and it is the way of love.